Hey Screamers, welcome to the second video review of 2017. If you didn't catch the last one, my name is Lewis, and I am the webmaster and owner of FrightTour.com. I am the one who's behind all of the drawn-out, fantastic, unbiased, truthful, and honest reviews that you see on our website. Our second stop on the 2017 Fright Tour is a 4-attraction haunt called Legends of the Fog. Located in Aberdeen, Maryland, which is only a 2-hour drive from our headquarters on the Jersey Shore. After parking the car and grabbing our tickets, it was time to take on the 4 attractions of Legends of the Fog. So as we rounded the corner, this is what came into view. So you're probably sitting there wondering, why did I show this to you? Well, it looks like your typical waiting area. It has a game, some places to eat, picnic tables to sit and wait, a stage in case, bands want to come and play, a queue line for the main attraction itself. So what's wrong with it? Well, did you notice the loud music playing in the background? That's something that I don't understand what haunted attractions do that for. To me, it takes away from the ambiance of the attraction itself. Patrons don't pay money to come and see a concert, come and pay money to listen to music, and I might be looking a little too much into it because I do this for a living, but for me, it didn't set the mood for what I was about to experience. Listening to Sia and her cheap thrills doesn't get me ready to walk into a haunted house. If you're gonna have music, why don't you play something that pertains to what you're doing? There's plenty of artists out there that do it, including Midnight Syndicate, so I don't get why haunted attractions feel the need to blast obnoxious hits of today out there. I mean, don't get me wrong, I like listening to the music, but it doesn't set the mood for me. It doesn't prepare me. It doesn't get me ready. It doesn't spook me out, creep me out. And it just doesn't seem right for that type of music to be playing in the waiting area and while you're waiting in line for the attraction itself. It felt very elementary. It didn't prepare me. It didn't get me excited. Putting the music behind us, and began the night with Farewell Hotel. Basically, it's a hotel that's been run down and is old and full of spirits and dead people and all that good stuff that we love during Halloween. The facade of it was pretty cool, I have to say. It was gloomy, creepy, dark. It definitely set the mood for what we were about to walk into. After waiting in about a 5-minute line, we were ready to begin our walk through the hotel itself. So, why the long sigh? Well, being an avid haunt enthusiast, I wish that every attraction was scary. In a perfect world, that would happen, but in today's world, it doesn't. And unfortunately, as harsh and rude as this might sound, Farewell Hotel wasn't scary. It completed the look. The hotel was great in the sense of set design and the layout. I liked it a lot in that regard. But as far as scaring me, it didn't scare me at all. The actors, I feel like, had been given a skit, and this was their skit from day one, that they had to act out this skit every single time they came in contact to a group of new people. To me, that is something that you don't want to do in a typical haunted attraction. You want to give your actors the ability to free roam the space and develop their character and really have fun. There were no startling scares. Everything seemed, I'm going to walk up to you and say something to you and then go back to my post. To me, that is not scary. To me, getting scared in a haunted house is getting startled. Loud noises, bang, jumping out and popping out of somewhere. There was none of this. It felt very elementary and it felt very old-style haunted house, like back when haunted houses were first given live act. There were some cool parts to the house itself. Most notably, there were 2 sections where you walked into a large box, and on the outside of the box there were many, many hotel doors. Some of these doors were locked and didn't even open. Some of them opened, but then led to a dead end. And then, of course, one of them was the exit to the rest of the haunted house. For me, this part was unique. It was interesting. It was something that we had never seen before. But again, it wasn't developed on. It wasn't followed through with. For me, what would have been effective is if an actor had been in the center of the rotunda and had led your group to different doors. You tried them out. One of them opened. It was a dead end. He or she shoved you inside and locked the door behind you guys and banged on the door. Played around and had fun, like what I had described with the actors. I felt like there wasn't any kind of freedom with this haunted house. Everything was so strict, and that doesn't work with a typical haunted house. It works with a theatrical style haunted house, but not a typical haunted house like Farewell Hotel. Saying farewell to Farewell Hotel, it was time to begin our second attraction, Cornstalker's Maze. Now, from the website, I kind of gathered that this would be a maze-style attraction where it's full of a bunch of dead ends and you have to find your way out. It wasn't. It wasn't a maze at all. It was simply put a trail. And the reason why is because the trail itself was nothing but a bunch of circles that led to the correct way out. It took me and Joe about 15 minutes to get out. Now, don't get me wrong. We have done some of these attractions before. I think that, again, this is another attraction that needs just a little bit more elbow grease and more thought to it. There were actors inside, but these actors, all they did was just follow you. They didn't startle you, they didn't jump out, they didn't pop out, nothing like that. There was no lighting, there was no props, there was no fog. It was just simply you in a trail in the middle of a cornfield with about 4 actors. It felt very elementary. Again, I have to use that word. It didn't deliver anything. It was kind of boring. Fortunately, I can't say that this attraction was amazing. The only thing it did have going for it was the fact that the corn was very dense and very thick, and that the rustling of it creeped you out just a tad. But there was no oomph to it, like other attractions of the same caliber that we have experienced, where you are left to find your way out. You get panicked, you start walking fast, you start going down the same exact route you went down before. The actors that are inside there play and taunt with you and lead you down these wrong paths and pop out to you numerous times. That's what we've seen in style attractions like this before. This attraction was just simply a corn path with 4 or 5 actors in it, and that was it. Leaving Cornstalkers and immediately filing into a line for the Haunted Hayride, both Joe and I were very excited because it has been deemed one of the scariest in Maryland, Pennsylvania, and DC. However, you know how hayrides go for me. They're not really meant to be scary, in my honest opinion. They're more meant for enjoyment, which is fine. But this hayride was neither, unfortunately. It was kind of repetitive and kind of a little boring. There were many, many drawn-out sections where we just sat in very, very dark woods from our one scene to the next scene. It followed your typical approach where you'd enter a building and then 2 doors on either side would shut, the scene would play out, the doors would open, and you'd be on your way. From the website, it said zombie horde. So immediately I thought, this is a zombie style attraction. However, it wasn't. We came in contact with hillbillies, a large bear, bats, birdmen, scary men wearing welding masks and fog masks. So to me, it was just a usual hayride with no cohesive theme, which is fine. I get that. That's great. But it wasn't scary. It wasn't entertaining. It wasn't fun. There was so much that needs to be changed with this hayride. Most notably, the main thing wrong with it was the use of actors throughout the hayride that you came in contact with. The majority of them walked up to the actual wagon, jumped on the sides, which, by the way, had this awesome ramp where the actors could walk along the side of the wagon and be face-to-face with you. That was something that we'd never seen before. But they just walked up and then roared or made a noise, which isn't effective. I wish any haunt owner watching this, or anyone who's going to create a hayride, maybe I'll do it myself, I wish that a hayride would be quiet and use the ambiance wherever your backdrop of a hayride is, and allow the actors to really use the silence as a way of startling the entire wagon. Throughout the years, we have experienced many hayrides, and 9 out of 10 times, the one thing that scares the wagon as a whole is a loud horn, an air pistol, something along those lines that creates a very loud noise, a flamethrower even. This attraction had none of that. It was very quiet, but the actors didn't make any noise. All they did was walk up to your wagon, make a sound, stare at you, come around the corner and look at you in the eye, and that was it. It was very repetitive, elementary again. There's that word. It just felt very not thought out, not followed through with. It just felt slapped together. Scene, oh, dark woods. Then there's another scene, dark woods. And these dark woods no one was using. Why weren't any of the actors in the dark woods? It was quiet. It was quiet as hell in these dark woods. There was not one single actor in these woods. To me, this hayride was unfortunately not the scariest of Maryland, DC, or Pennsylvania. 3 attractions down, 1 to go. It was time for Sinister Circus, the last of the night. Now, as you know, clowns, I have a phobia, so they kind of creep me out. But Sinister Circus, again, just like the hotel, had no oomph, it had no intensity, there was no follow-through. The actors, again, were given set scripts that they had to act out each time. There were no startling scares. And in a circus, you could use a lot of things to create a startling scare. Loud bangs, a can of nails, an air horn, a kazoo, something that kind of fits the clown theme. There was nothing to it. It was just a bunch of circus-themed props scattered throughout the attraction where the actors executed a scene, and that was it. Sinister Circus did not deliver. So overall, Legends of the Fog, unfortunately, you were a bust. I'm sorry to say this, but the theme of the night was elementary. I think that your attractions have potential, specifically the corn maze and the hotel and the circus, but you need a little bit of elbow grease and some follow through and some development. It felt very new. It felt very old style haunted house with actors executing scenes rather than startling their victim. To me, if you are more than an hour away, I wouldn't recommend it. I would recommend somewhere else closer to home. To me, this attraction is not scary at all, and while we drove the 2 hours and had to review it, I don't think I would ever return, sadly. So there it is. You have my official, honest, and unbiased review of Legends of the Fog. I've probably made some enemies, but I wouldn't be doing what I do if I didn't do it, and you wouldn't be following me if I didn't do it. You wouldn't be following me if I didn't provide you with the honest truth.